We checked a local Kroger and found nearly $1.50 for a dozen eggs. That sounds cheap to me. $2 for a gallon of milk. And prices may continue to increase. Stephanie Rule with ways to save in the price you pay.
You can't miss it.
Cheese and stuff like we try to stay away because the prices have gone up.
Sticker shock in the supermarket aisle. John Kemaraj says his grocery bill has nearly doubled.
Are you buying less fresh food, less produce, less meat because of the prices?
It's more produce than meat and all this, because meat is very expensive.
Compared to a year ago, many staples will cost more. A dozen eggs and a pound of ground chuck, both up 7%. And a loaf of bread up 11%.
I would expect that we're going to see prices continue to rise over the next 6 to 18 months.
Experts say that's because of the supply, coupled with the increased cost of getting products onto shelves. Factors include rising gas prices, driver shortages, fewer workers in meatpacking plants and bakeries, and bad winter weather that damage crops. Even with prices going up, there are ways to save.
Managing what's in your home and what you're bringing in terms of storing it will really go a long way to save money.
That means buying food in bulk when possible, using apps like Flip and Basket to track prices and the best deals, and keeping your eyes open for store brands. Smart shopping that could mean more savings.
11Alive News at noon starts now.
3 officers shot and injured in a wild chase. How they're doing today and what their road to recovery looks like. To boycott or not, faith leaders are giving us an update on their meeting with Georgia-based CEOs. What happened in that closed-door meeting and what's next in their fight against restrictive voting measures. And growing concerns surrounding the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Why health experts say there may not be reason to worry. But we begin with an important update on 3 law enforcement officers shot and injured during a wild chase that ended in Carroll County. Right now, only one of the officers remains in the hospital. The Carrollton police chief reaching out to us overnight saying Sergeant Rob Holloway is still in the ICU at Grady after being shot in the head, but he says he is improving. The father and husband able to move both hands and feet, his scan showing no signs of spine injuries or broken bones. Meanwhile, the 2 other law enforcement officers are home with their families. Villa Rica officer Chase Gordy left Grady Hospital in a limo last night, more than 24 hours after being shot in the shoulder and leg. You can see him here in a wheelchair, his arm in a sling. Several of his fellow officers helping Officer Gordy into the limo, his girlfriend Peyton by his side. She tells us one gunshot actually shattered his collarbone. And while he's still in pain and will need physical therapy, he was up and walking in his hospital room before being released. And on his way home, you just saw it there, the young officer rolled down the window for a quick wave.
It's been crazy, but we're happy for the support, so we're glad to be going home.
Carroll County's Deputy Sheriff Jay Repetto was released from the hospital the same day of the chase. The 4-year veteran took a bullet to the arm. Now, one of the suspects in this case, Aaron Shelton, is facing 8 felony counts of aggravated assault and battery. Each count can carry up to 20 years behind bars if convicted. A judge denying his bond yesterday. He'll be back in court May 7th for a preliminary hearing. The second suspect, Shelton's cousin, was killed by police. They say he was the one firing shots from an AK-47 from the vehicle that police were in pursuit of. And just into the newsroom here, DeKalb County School District tells us that 2 Tucker High School students have been arrested. The students allegedly had a loaded firearm and taser on school grounds yesterday. We're told the school district is handling the investigation. This is also just into our newsroom. The mastermind of the biggest investment fraud in U.S. history has died in federal prison. The Bureau of Prisons confirming Ponzi schemer Bernie Madoff passed away early this morning in North Carolina. He had been serving his 150-year prison sentence for ripping off tens of thousands of investors out of an estimated $65 billion. Last year, Madoff's lawyers filed court papers to try to get him released from prison because of the pandemic and also citing terminal kidney failure. Bernie Madoff was 82 years old. A boycott not off the table. That's what Georgia's AME Bishop had to say following that much anticipated closed-door virtual meeting between faith leaders and some of Georgia's corporate CEOs. Bishop Reginald Jackson says it was a good meeting, but multiple CEOs decided not to come, including Home Depot, UPS, and AT&T. Faith leaders called for a boycott of all the major companies after the passing of Georgia's new controversial voting law last month. Bishop Jackson says he and other faith leaders will make an announcement on Friday about what next steps they will take. And this morning, the Fulton County Board of Commissioners chair introducing a new resolution to legally challenge Georgia's controversial election law. He says the Stop Voter Suppression resolution will help protect voters' rights in Fulton County. And one of the commissioners says it targets the county by reducing the voting drop boxes from 38 last election to just 8 in the state's most populous county of more than 800,000 people. They also point to the end of mobile voting units, which saw 11,000 cast votes from in the 2020 election. This morning, the board listened to more than 24 emailed comments from the community on the resolution. Some agreed with the county's position, while others expressed strong disagreement. If the resolution passes, the county could sue the state over Georgia's new law. And the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, responding to Fulton County's resolution, saying in part, quote, the county has been failing its voters for at least 25 years. Fulton County Democrats need to stop passing the blame to Republicans for failures they have sole control over and actually do something about it. Let's turn it over to Sam now with your weather.
Hey, Sheba. Boy, what a day it is ahead of that front that's going to bring some rain in. Breezes starting to pick up a little bit here in the classic city of Rome. But how beautiful is this shot with those temperatures in the mid-70s in Rome right now? A few high clouds mixed in, so we're going to call it filtered sunshine as we head into the next few hours. And those breezes will be starting to pick up as we head into the next few hours into the afternoon and evening. So we'll have sustained around 10 to 15, and then some gusts could be even higher than that as we head into the afternoon and evening hours as that frontal system starts to make its way through this afternoon. So right now the rain is still well off to our west across Mississippi, and it looks pretty impressive when you check out the radar with the yellows and some reds embedded here. But we do think it'll be weakening as it moves in. We're not anticipating the heavier rain that they're seeing right now in Mississippi and Louisiana. But most notably, this is a frontal system that's moving in, and as this cold front moves in, temperatures are going to be dropping some 10, 15 degrees in just a matter of hours. So coming up, we'll talk about the timing of the showers and storms and how this impacts your weekend.
Good enough, Samantha. Thank you. And now to some new information on the vaccine front. Moderna says its vaccine is now more than 90% effective against the coronavirus. The updated data from phase 3 of its trial also shows it's up to 95% effective against severe illness for up to 6 months after the second dose. This update brings the vaccine one step closer to full FDA approval, which requires a more intense review process. Both Pfizer and Moderna were granted emergency use authorization. Many vaccine sites are now making changes or canceling events since both the CDC and FDA called for a pause in the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Georgia's Department of Public Health following the guidance, which means Atlanta Public Schools' mass vaccination event for its staff set for next week is no longer happening. So what's next for the J&J vaccine? In just about an hour now, hour and a half, the CDC's vaccine advisors will meet and possibly make a recommendation. Tracy A. McPeer has more now on what we can expect.
The FDA and CDC are calling for a pause to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine nationwide. Today, federal health officials are taking the next step, reviewing the data on the vaccine to make a recommendation. It's all news that preschool teacher Megan Ravel says makes her nervous since she got the vaccine last month.
If I knew this information going into it, I think I would have gotten another shot.
There are some things we do know.
6 women between the ages of 18 and 48 that have suffered blood clots from the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Piedmont Dr. Jane Morgan says some things don't show up in drug trials.
When you get drugs, vaccines, devices out into the real world, and you're exposing them to millions and millions of people, you may begin to identify some side effects that were unable to be uncovered in a trial of 30 to 40,000 people.
But why are they all women? And does that mean moving forward, women under 50 will not take this vaccine? While so far the number is literally 1 in a million, Ravel says that news that all 6 were women between 18 and 48 is the scariest part.
Under 50, which many teachers that I received it with were under 50 years old.
More questions than answers at this point. So now a pause, giving the FDA and CDC time to get some answers.
The CDC plans to vote on updated recommendations for the J&J vaccine by the end of the day today.
And this pause on the J&J vaccine is causing some concern for those who already received the 1-dose shot. You just heard one woman right there, really concerned here. On Morning Rush, I talked with 11Alive medical correspondent Sujatha Reddy, Dr. Sujatha Reddy, and asked her some of your most pressing questions.
This is very concerning to people who've received the J&J vaccine or were on the list to get it. You know, I think we have to put into perspective. First, there's no absolute direct cause and effect, but it's pretty suspicious. But it's very rare. We've given out in the U.S. almost 7 million doses, and up to now there have been 7 reports of these serious blood clots. So it's less than 1 in a million. So it's a rare complication, and we just don't have enough information right now to say, is there something specific in these people? Were they on a medication? Do they have a medical condition that made the vaccine and that issue lead to these blood clots? We just don't know. So one thing to be reassured about is if you've gotten your vaccine 3-4 weeks ago, you're probably okay, because these 6 reports occurred within 2 weeks of receiving the vaccine. So I hope that gives people some, reassurance.
So although the blood clots, which are in the brain, are rare, Dr. Reddy says the symptoms would be serious, causing major swelling in the arms and legs or stroke-like symptoms. If you have any concerns, Dr. Reddy says, call your healthcare provider or head to the ER. Atlanta is joining the calls for justice for Daunte Wright today. He's the 20-year-old father shot and killed by a police officer in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota over the weekend. Activists are planning to gather tonight at 6 for a Stand in Solidarity rally at Centennial Olympic Park in downtown Atlanta. The unrest and protests continuing for a 3rd night in Minnesota. Demonstrators demanding justice, expressing their frustrations and anger against police brutality and racial injustice. Hundreds breaking curfew again, and some of this video you see here is near the city's police station. The now former officer who shot Wright resigned yesterday after 26 years on the force. She claimed she meant to pull her taser instead of her gun. The police chief also resigned. And its crowds fill the streets of Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. The Derek Chauvin trial continues just miles away. After more than 2 weeks and 38 witnesses, the prosecution rested its case. This morning, the defense will continue to make its case on why the former Minneapolis police officer should be acquitted. Chauvin's team is hoping to convince at least one juror that George Floyd died from drugs and poor health and not the ex-cop's knee on his neck for more than 9 minutes. The defense calling its own use of force expert, former police officer Barry Broad.
I felt that Derek Chauvin was justified and was acting with objective reasonableness.
Broad said he doesn't consider the technique used by Chauvin to be a use of force, claiming it doesn't hurt. Those were his words. During cross-examination, the prosecution took aim at Broad, questioning his claims and whether attempting to breathe while restrained should be considered non-compliant. The defense also called a retired Minneapolis police officer to the stand who arrested Floyd back in 2019. To convict Chauvin, the prosecution needs a unanimous verdict by the jury. The defense only needs one juror to lead to a hung jury. The defense will continue today and later this week. Closing arguments are expected on Monday. It is 12:14 right now. Allergy season taking its toll on many of us this year. And we're not in the clear just yet. We're talking to experts about how much longer these puffy eyes and runny noses will stick around.
Radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up. Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
With all the energy of your morning coffee. Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the peach trees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11Alive.
We're quite the combo.
Weather changes.
You know, we got spring season, baseball season, tax season, and of course, allergy season. If you've been feeling like you can't escape this pollen, you're not alone. The pollen count in Atlanta has been extremely high as of late. The top culprits are trees like oak, mulberry, pine, sycamore, and willow. According to the experts, we might be in for a few more weeks of puffy eyes and runny noses.
We also have had longer spring seasons because of the changes in the world that we've had. So we're going to expect to see that patients who used to say, I resolve by May or the beginning of March or April, like, well, I'm ending in April, they're ending in May. And so the most important thing is to follow your symptoms, get an allergist to help you identify what your actual pollen, allergy or whatever the allergies are, and then get them treated as soon as possible.
So yeah, the pollen is still high, but it's not as extremely high as it's been the last few days. So we're moving in the right direction. I mean, we either need a multi-day cleansing rain to get rid of it, or we just have to let it run its course. Eventually, we'll be beyond the pollen season. But we are down today at 1,162 particulates per cubic meter of air. If you imagine a cubic meter, which is about a yard, right? A cubic yard of air, and all of those particulates within that air, and we're breathing that in. So that can really cause some discomfort. Of course, the trees are the highest, as we were saying, and the grasses, the weeds also up there. The weeds down a bit from where we were yesterday, but still it's going to be problematic until it runs its course. Looking out over the city, the high clouds on the increase here, and it means that we're going to be warming it up the next couple of hours. We're at 78 now. So we'll likely make it into the low 80s before we see some rain moving in. And then we'll have some of those scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms. It's going to be a pretty light rain event, not enough to cure us of the pollen for sure. But we'll end up seeing some of that rain moving in and then cooler air moving in behind it. So you can see where the rain is right now, moving in across Mississippi. Looks pretty impressive right now, but I do think it's going to weaken on approach for us because if you notice here, the heaviest of the rain is on the south side, just like it was yesterday. And we do expect to see that move to the south. Now watch this future radar. It shows the heaviest rain working its way into the northern Gulf. In comes the light stuff for us during the evening hours, and that'll be that frontal boundary that moves through, makes things breezy, brings in a few scattered showers for us. So we're calling it an 8 on your wazometer on that scale of 1 to 11, with 11 being a perfect day, an 8, not bad. Temperatures getting in to the low 80s today. And then we'll see the chance for that rain, particularly during the afternoon and evening hours. Few and far between, though. Some of us won't even see a single drop. So here's the timing a little more closely. So you can see here as we head in towards 5:30, moving into Carrollton and Dalton, some light rain. As we get into the middle of the evening, right around the time of the Braves game, we'll end up seeing some of those showers work their way through Marietta, but they won't last long. And then we'll see them into the morning commute as well, especially south of I-20. But it is going to be light stuff. It's not a heavy rain event, and it looks like we'll have another round possibly on Saturday, kind of similar, with 65 expected on Saturday, 69 on Sunday. So we'll be running a little below average. And just a quick look at how this could impact your Saturday. This is Saturday morning, the rain just edging in by around noontime, becoming the most widespread. And then during the evening, we should start to see it taper off and scoot out of here. So the best day of the weekend will be Sunday if you're making outdoor plans right now. 30% chance today, 20% chance as we head into early tomorrow. We dried out Thursday afternoon through Friday. We cool it down, some 15 degrees cooler than we have been across much of North Georgia. And then we're right around mid-60s on Saturday with that 30% chance of rain. And Sunday right now is looking splendid.
A little bit of a cool down there. Samantha, thank you. 20 years in the making, and Morris Brown College now has its accreditation candidacy. This is huge for the historically black college, which lost its status back in 2002 from debt and money issues, which almost led to its closing. But the 140-year-old HBCU did not give up. It created new academic programs, raised money, and helped rebuild student services to get back on track. And while they wait for full accreditation, the school is now up to standards and able to apply for federal financial aid. Another way Hank Aaron's legacy will live on is through a Southwest Atlanta school. The Atlanta Board of Education voting to rename Forest Hill Academy after the baseball legend. The new name, Hank Aaron New Beginnings Academy. The alternative high school is one of several schools whose names came under scrutiny for their ties to the Confederacy and white supremacists. Today, the school board vice chair Ishay Collins says this name change is significant.
He truly touched the lives of so many people, and our students had the connection. So this is, it's not a far off thing of talking about his legacy. Our students knew him.
This is the latest metro school to remove references to people known to hold racist views. The board previously approved name changes for Grady High School, Grady Stadium, and Joseph E. Brown Middle School. They plan to have the new signs in place by August 5th when students come back to in-person learning. We are officially 100 days away from the start of the Olympic Games, and we aren't the only ones waiting in anticipation. We catch up with the gold medal hopefuls. That's next.
Sure, this history isn't erased.
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up. Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
with all the energy of your morning coffee. Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the Peachtrees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11Alive.
We're quite the combo.
Let's go, let's go. We're officially 100 days away from the Summer Olympics. Athletes are continuing to train for the Olympic trials with much anticipation surrounding the Summer Games. NBC's Liz McLaughlin is in Charlotte, North Carolina now, where Olympic trials are underway.
For past and aspiring Olympians, it's been an extra year of anticipation for Tokyo.
The Olympics are happening, you know, like it gives me goosebumps, like just saying it.
Now, 100 days out from the Games, athletes are antsy to compete.
All of our training has geared us for this moment, so I'm just super excited for the journey.
Gymnasts, track athletes, and swimmers are preparing now for Olympic trials in June.
That's kind of the next big marker for us swimmers and what we're preparing for, so it feels like it's coming up soon.
But many already made the cut. More than 115 athletes have qualified for Tokyo, with rowing and canoe-kayak slalom trials currently underway.
It's been really, really cool to get to compete for the United States in 3 Olympic Games, and I'm hoping to make it a 4th Games.
More than 11,000 athletes from around the globe are expected to compete in Tokyo, but only fans from Japan will be allowed to attend due to the pandemic.
I had no hesitation in saying the Games will take place, and they'll be the safest Games possible.
As the Olympic torch winds its way through the host country, the path forward looks a little brighter after a year of uncertainty.
And we'll be following more athletes as we count down to the Summer Olympics. The opening ceremony is on July 23rd. Our Cheryl Preheim will be traveling to Tokyo to give you all access to the Games and our Georgia's athletes. We'll be right back.
Full tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Morning news should be informative and fun.
Yeah, and we do that here on Morning Rush with Verify, Connect the Dots, Why Guy, and more.
We love learning about new things and sharing them with you.
We make the news make sense.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11Alive.
The Negro people had to leave. They were told to get out.
White only, no black!
1912, all but one issue has been erased.
We haven't had none up here since the 1st of the century.
What's the importance of making sure this history isn't erased?
So that it doesn't happen again.
Is your morning routine feeling a little routine?
Then mix it up. Morning Rush is different.
It's the fast-paced news you need
With all the energy of your morning coffee. Come see the difference on Morning Rush, weekdays on 11Alive.
Weather can't run from the all-new 11Alive Thunder Truck, a mobile weather center with the power and speed to chase down the strongest storms and bring you on-the-ground conditions. The 11Alive Thunder Truck, sponsored by Landmark Dodge.
Here in Atlanta, bad weather means bad traffic. A few drops of rain could destroy a commute. But that's where my man Crash Clark comes in. I go street level, he goes next level. Together, we make sure you get to work on time. Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11Alive. Hey, quick, open up your phone camera right now. Aim it at the screen to download 11Alive's new and improved app. This QR code will take you right to the App Store or Google Play. One simple tap gives you enhanced radar, street-level zoom, and severe weather alerts. It's just that easy.
Atlanta roads are my thing. ITP, OTP, Ponce, Piedmont, all the Peachtrees. Combined with Chesley's street level forecast, that's a lot of tech and experience to help your commute.
Morning Rush, weekdays 5 to 7 on 11Alive.
We're quite the combo.
Before we go, we want to get to some breaking news just into our newsroom. The former Minnesota police officer captured on camera fatally shooting Daunte Wright during a traffic stop will face charges. According to NBC News, Kim Potter will be charged with second-degree manslaughter in connection with Wright's death. Take care.
11alive.com/COVID numbers. Track cases by county using our interactive map and get the latest health department data. Visit 11alive.com/COVID numbers.
Health experts fear we're just at the start of another surge.
Residents here are some of the first seniors to get the vaccine.
This epidemic can come to an end.
We do have a flash flood warning that just popped up here.
The fallout of this is just beginning.
The bigger questions are the longer legal ramifications.